Are you an author who wants to promote your books without even saying a word? Visit our apparel collection at everythingauthors.com/shop. That's everythingauthors.com/shop. Did you know you can promote your book on the next Authors Helping Authors web show? For more information, text AHA to 202-288-4467. That's 202-288-4467. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. I'm your host, Martinique Brown. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to tune into the show today. I'm really excited about our author here on the show because she's going to be talking to us more about her book called Within These Walls. So if this is your first time ever tuning into the show, make sure you go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about our author, Toni, as well as her book, and so they'll know more about the show. Now, the great thing about this show is we like to keep it interactive. So if you have questions for Toni, make sure you go ahead and post those questions in the comment field. Now, if you're watching from any other page other than Everything Authors or Martinique Y. Brown, I need you to come on over to one of those two pages so I can see your questions and comments and I can relay those to Toni as well. I was about to call you Coach Toni. I know you're a motivational speaker. We'll get to that later. But one of the things that we would love for you to do right now is just give us a virtual shout out. Let us know that you are in the house. So Toni, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. You are welcome. So, can you tell our viewers just a little bit more about yourself and how long you've been a published author?
Well, I am a Mississippi Delta girl at heart. I was born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta in a small community called Swiftwater.
Hmm.
I was educated in high school and Mississippi Valley State University, where I got my bachelor's.
Okay.
I got published. My first book was published in 2016, so I'm coming up on my 5 year anniversary
Oh,
of
nice.
being a published author.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So now, can you just tell us the genres that you enjoy writing and why you actually enjoy writing these genres?
Okay. Um, I do poetry. That's one genre that I'm in.
Okay.
My first book that was published is actually a collection of poems that I'd written over the years from high school up until the time of publication. So
Hmm.
poetry is my first genre. I also do, I guess you could call it self-help.
Okay.
I write about experiences that I've had in life and the lessons that I've learned from them. And I write those types of books in hopes that it will help someone who's
Yeah.
going through similar issues.
Hmm.
That was the most recent publishing. That was book number 3.
Okay.
The autobiographical account of dating and relationships.
Hmm.
But my passion, my favorite genre is fiction. I
Okay.
absolutely love fiction. It's my baby.
Hmm.
And
That's
what I
good.
enjoy about fiction is the ability to create characters and worlds, lines, and just create a whole, just build a whole world around the characters, and
Hmm.
then use those characters and what they go through to to just talk about things that everyday people go through in everyday life,
Right.
and possibly help them come to a solution, or to at least know that they are not alone in what they go through.
That's excellent. So
Fiction is a
now
good vehicle
that,
for that.
yeah, I think that that's really good. And it's amazing how authors do write books so that maybe you aren't that individual that's directly talking to somebody that's reading your book, but your characters are speaking to that person as well. So now, if I actually forgot to tell you all this, but make sure that you visit that description box because that actually has Toni's information there. So as you're watching the show, if you're interested in purchasing her book, make sure you go right there next to that dollar sign and you can actually click on that purchasing link and you can read a book summary. And then you can purchase the book as well. Now, if you are actually interested in staying in contact with Coach Toni, where am I getting this Coach Toni
You,
from?
you're speaking something into
I
existence.
I think so. Come on, coach. But if you're interested in staying connected with Toni, make sure that you go ahead and follow her on social media. And all of those links are directly in that description box as well. So now, can you just walk us through your book Within These Walls?
Sure. Within these walls is about the Chambers family. There's 8 members of the family, or the immediate family. There's the parents,
Hmm.
Gregory and Katie. They have 6 daughters. They have Tina, Kendall, Kitty, Kayla and Kim, and Amy.
Okay.
And it starts off about their, just their daily lives, but there's some underlying issues that they have. And those issues come to a head at a family gathering. And what Within These Walls does is it builds up to what those issues are, what happens, and how they approach dealing with it.
Hmm.
And so it just really takes a look at family interactions, and it takes a look at generational curses. It takes a look at family secrets and what can happen when all of those things go untouched, or you don't deal with them
Yeah.
properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I
So,
almost forgot Maggie. Maggie is a principal character as well. She's their housekeeper.
okay. Okay. So now, why did you like? Where do you draw your inspiration from? Specifically with your characters.
Oh, everyday life,
Uh-huh.
family, friends. I observe people when I'm shopping. I observe people if I'm out with friends. Just a lot of close and careful observation of people and their interactions and the things that they are going through and the things that they're dealing with. And I
Hmm.
take that and just build off that. And the characters in within these walls was inspired by close family and friends.
So now, could somebody read your book and they say, "Hey, this is me," like a family,
It,
somebody that knows you?
it's possible,
Uh-huh.
it's possible. I did want people to, when they read it, to see some of themselves or to see some of their family and be
Hmm.
like, hey, I'm dealing with this too. Let me see how this comes out. Let me see how they work through this. So
Yeah.
I did want people to be able to see themselves. Now, whether or not some of my, family or friends or whoever reads it and sees them, it's highly possible.
Hmm. Hmm.
Highly possible.
So when we read your books, are we specifically within these walls? Will we have a better understanding of who you are as an author?
Somewhat. I hope that comes across because me as an author, the one thing I want to do is uplift and inspire and motivate, educate, and I hope that that comes through in my writing. Because one thing that I'm careful to is to do it in a different way than other urban writings. It's very easy to write something with a lot of the typical traits or characteristics of most urban books, but I try to take a different route from that. For example, within these walls and subsequent writing, there's not really a lot of romantic scenes in it as far as just one-on-one romance.
Hmm.
Um, there's very very little profanity. I try not to use that at all.
Hmm.
Things of that nature, intimate or sexual references. And that's because I want that to be the issues that the people are facing and their possible path to healing. My writing and my skill and my message to speak for itself without the things to speak, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. So
So I want
now,
that to come across.
so let me ask you something. So I know that the Chambers has 6 daughters. What's the youngest age of the daughter and the oldest?
The youngest daughter is 17 at the
Okay.
onset of the story. She's a high school senior.
Hmm.
And the oldest daughter, she is a registered nurse.
Okay. So, okay. And the reason why I asked that question is because I know that you're saying that you were letting us know that you speak about issues that, we all deal with in our families. And I know that sometimes it's really good, especially as a young person, like maybe in high school, to be able to relate with somebody in the book. And then if it's something that they are struggling with themselves, then they could talk to maybe their parents about it. Would you recommend that a younger person, let's say in high school, read your book? Do you feel like it's age appropriate so that it could help them deal with some of the issues they may be dealing with as well?
Absolutely. Especially with Amy, with her character.
Hmm.
She's a high school senior. She's dealing with things that high school seniors and females deal with, image,
Hmm.
body positivity, popularity, things of that nature. So I want any young person that reads it to see her and maybe see themselves in her. But then you shift to like maybe her older sister,
Okay.
who is, she's in that family, she's gone through the same thing, but she is pushing through and she's pushing herself to be her best self. So I
Hmm.
want them to see that your circumstances don't define how you end up. how you come out, how you come through. That's up to you. And you
Mhm.
can, get through this because you have these sisters in this family and they're all pushing their way through what they're dealing with.
Mhm. Mhm. So now I know that you specifically let us know that Katie Chambers, the mother of the story, has some issues. Can you just tell us a little bit about what her issues are?
Sure. Katie has a lot of issues that stem from her childhood.
Okay.
She has self esteem issues, she has image issues. Um, she grew up in a completely dysfunctional household. It was filled with anger and violence and all sorts of things. She was teased and bullied and talked about, and all of that led to the person that she is now.
Mhm.
And when you read about her, you see this cold, calculating, evil woman. But what I wanted to get through to the reader is that but there's something underneath that
Mhm.
that's causing her to be such a piece of work. And
Yeah.
hopefully that will be, a message and a piece of inspiration as well, to know that, you have some people that are just because they are,
Mhm.
but you also have some people who are cold and calculating and evil because in their life previously and they didn't know how to address it or deal with it. So they just
Mhm.
built this wall at them,
Yeah.
and that's where they are.
Well, I'm really glad that you touched on that because specifically talking about women, sometimes we feel that we have to have this image of perfection before we, get married and be in a relationship. Why did you think that it was important to um, have this woman with all of these issues? And I know her husband know about her issues. Oh, and she still, was able to be in a relationship. Not saying that this relationship is healthy or anything, but sometimes we have that thought that well, once I get all my life together with everything, then that's when I'll get somebody. Talk to us about that in your marriage.
Well, with Gregory and Katie, Gregory knew her. He
Hmm.
knows the her that existed before this cold person came into being.
Okay.
And he's the type that whatever he can do to support, whatever he can do to help better your life, whatever he can do to help you get through something, he's going to do that,
Hmm.
even at the risk of sacrificing his own sanity, which can be a blessing or a curse.
Right.
And you'll see more of that as you read through the book, but that was his whole thing. He
Hmm.
knows the depth of her character,
Hmm.
and he knows what's underneath all of that. He may not know exactly how to help her deal with it or work through it, but he knows it's there.
Yeah.
And so he was
Yeah.
able to have empathy and he was able to see beyond the mask that she put up.
Hmm.
So she doesn't get it yet.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
that's just a tiny hint of what maybe.
Uh-huh. So do we get to see that Katie is at least acknowledging these issues that she has and possibly get some help?
We do get to see that.
Hmm.
Now within these walls, um, as you read through it and as you get to the end, you know, sometimes when you're dealing with certain issues and the way you're working through, you're kind of going up this mountain, so to speak.
Hmm.
Within these walls takes you up front side, I guess you could say,
Hmm.
and it's coming to that peak. Once you get to that peak is when you start seeing that Katie is starting to see something different.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's going to be coming soon.
Okay, so you're saying that we're going to get a sequel of Within These Walls.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Maybe
Okay.
more than one.
Yeah.
There's quite a few layers that you have to work through to get to that level of realization and that point where, you know, she realizes, hey, I've been carrying this almost literal poison around.
Hmm.
And, I need to release that before it takes me completely. And that's one of the things I try to get across in my writing is that, when you've gone through something and you're carrying this stuff with
Hmm.
you, eventually it's going to take you out if you don't address it
That's good.
and deal with it and put it to rest.
That is
The
so
things that
true.
I wanted within these walls um, to start
Hmm.
showing.
So, talk to us a little bit about having patience with individuals that do have different issues and just having that patience to maybe just dig a little deeper to find out
Mhm.
why they do the things that they do.
Ooh, it takes it does take extreme patience and a
Hmm.
lot of prayer,
Hmm.
daily prayer, to be able to put up with that or to work through that.
Right.
Um, for me, I know for myself, I was well into my adulthood, my 30s and 40s, before I started understanding people have issues.
Okay.
Some people are, like I said, some people are evil and mean just to be evil and mean.
Hmm.
We don't know about them. But some people are the way they are because of what they've gone through.
Hmm.
And I've dealt with that on a personal level, as far as some family members who, growing up, I couldn't understand why they acted the way they acted. But
Hmm.
as I got older and started to really just, pray for patience, help me see beyond what I'm looking at, you know, and I started to be able to see the layers underneath people
Hmm.
and, learn about their past and their history and how they grew up, their home environments, things like that, that turned them into the person that they are today.
Hmm.
And it helps me to cope a whole lot better when you encounter um, people who just seem to just come at you for no reason.
Yeah.
You haven't done anything to them. You haven't. The only thing you've done is try to love and support and care for them, and
Hmm.
they come at you with fiery darts, and you're like, "Whoa, wait a minute."
But
So
yeah.
the things that I've learned in learning how to deal with that is what I want to put into my writing. So hopefully, it can help other people cope with, um, whether it's family members, friends, coworkers, whomever, to help them be able to cope with that a little bit better because I know how trying it can be.
Right, right. And one of the things that I wanted to just talk about is I know that that question was, what one side should do. Talk to us a little bit about that individual that does have these issues and the importance of maybe opening up so that individuals can begin to accept them and not just write them off.
Right, right. Well, the first thing is um, for them to know not to be embarrassed or ashamed. Everyone has issues. Everyone
Hmm.
has something that they've gone through. Everyone has something that they're dealing with. So don't be embarrassed to say, hey, I grew up with such and such going on, and
Yeah.
now I've got all this going on with me mentally and emotionally, and I need to get it out. And
Hmm.
know that there is someone out there who's willing to and help you work through it.
Hmm.
We all need that. It's nothing to be guilt or shame over,
Hmm.
especially when it's something, from childhood, because there's things that we have no control over.
Right, right.
So I want that to be, seen as well.
So now, can you tell us what do you feel like is the importance of therapy? Because even if it's just individual therapy or family therapy, what's your thoughts about
I am all for therapy.
that? Hmm.
Um, it can be a great tool to help people work through their issues.
Right.
And in seeing a therapist, you've got this person there who's completely unbiased because they don't know you, they don't know your
Hmm.
family, but they do have the capability to mediate. Um, they have the ability to sit there and say, okay, let's hear your side.
Yeah.
And then they can go to the other person, okay, so what do you understand that's being said? How do you perceive that? And to just kind of take it back and forth
Mm-hmm.
until both parties can come to a mutual understanding and, have some enlightenment.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm all for therapy.
Why
I
do you
wish
think that?
everyone could have access to it.
Yeah, yeah. And why do you think that? Okay, I want to be honest with you. So, um, I feel like so much now we've just been hearing in the media about, or like social media and things like that, that Black people, don't go to therapists and things of that nature. Now, I don't know the stats on that or anything, but why do you think that that is?
That we've built a stigma around mental health issues, and we built a stigma around going to therapy. And the hugest thing I think is that, most people say, well, Black people don't do that.
Hmm.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
And just me personally, my theory is that we've this long history of shouldering everything, you know,
Hmm.
carrying the world on our backs and proving to the world and proving to everybody and proving to ourselves how strong we are and how strong we can be carry. And that's actually much more detrimental than people realize. It's
Hmm.
not healthy to carry all that. It's not healthy to shoulder everything and, deal with all this stuff without at least talking to someone about it, and getting that stress off of you. There's nothing
Hmm.
healthy about that at all. And I hope to somehow in a small way be able to help eradicate that stigma
Yeah.
and let, our culture know, let our people know it's okay to go to therapy. It's
Hmm.
okay to need someone to talk to. It's
Hmm.
okay to not have those strong shoulders all the time.
Right, right. So
We're
now
human, not, you know.
we're human, like you said, and that is so true. So what did you feel like the bookshelves were lacking that made you even want to write within these walls?
I wanted to see something different. I always, whenever I go shopping or whenever I'm out and about and there's somewhere that has a book section, I go and I
Hmm.
just kind of scan through and just see, what's out there, what's on the shelves,
Hmm.
what are people reading. You see a lot of romance novels. You see a lot of historical fiction. You see quite a bit of, self-help books. But what I wasn't seeing was fiction or a lot of it. There's, few out there, but I wasn't seeing a lot of fiction that covered issues that we deal with. And the
Hmm.
reason I wanted to approach it from a fiction standpoint, there's a lot of self help out there. And to direct, um, this is what I went through, this is what you should do type
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
But some people can get into fiction because it stretches their imagination. And if they're able to think outside of, you know, what they're going through personally or outside of what someone is trying to, some people say preach to them about. If
Hmm.
they can just get outside of that and be like, okay, this is a made up story, but there's some real truth to it. There's some deep stuff in there that
Yeah.
captures their attention in a different way. And so they're able to get a message that they need without
Hmm.
feeling like they're being lectured to like that.
Yeah.
So I saw that missing on the bookshelves. And I read a quote or something somewhere, and I can't remember it, but it was something along the lines of, if you don't see the book that you're looking for, write it.
Hmm.
So
So you wrote
what
it.
I did. That's what I did. I
Yeah.
wrote it. Yeah.
So now I don't see many authors doing live Facebook readings of their books. How has that been going for you so far when it comes to marketing? And do you feel that you're connecting with the viewers?
It actually goes pretty well. It's an
Hmm.
interesting and different way to connect with your audience, to get some of your work out there, to give them a little bit of little bit of the story that you got going and generate interest.
Hmm.
And it has done that. I've had people inbox me or, get with me, whatever, and they were like, I didn't even know you wrote books, you know?
Yeah.
So it opens up the audience a little bit more,
Hmm.
and it gets people, generates more interest. And it's going pretty well. I'm looking forward to doing some more live readings from other works as they come along, so that can build the audience and generate more interest.
Yeah, that's good. So now, when do you actually do these readings? Is it like on a consistent basis, or what does that look like?
It's kind of, I don't know if you want to say seasonal.
Hmm.
We started the last Friday in February of this year, building up to um, what we have coming up. And we wanted to regenerate interest in these walls, because within these walls was actually published, oh dear, 2018, I think.
Okay.
And we wanted to reintroduce it to the world so that readers can pick up that story, so that when part 2 comes, they
Yeah, that
will,
makes sense.
you know, they'll know what's
Hmm.
going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll probably pick up again with the release of the new work, um, and we'll be announcing those dates and everything. Um, but we hope to pick that back up again, because it was fun. I enjoyed it. It's a great interaction between author and audience. So we'll
Hmm.
definitely be doing that again.
That's excellent. So now, you all that's tuning in, make sure that you follow Toni on social media so that you will be able to be notified when she does her readings and things like that, and also when she releases her new book as well. Again, her contact information and social media handles is listed in that description box as well. So, what have you actually learned about yourself throughout your journey of becoming a published author?
I've learned patience,
Hmm.
because I'm the type, when I get the story in my head and then I'm like, I can't write it fast enough. I can't get it out fast enough. And then,
Hmm.
every so often you hit that writer's block. And so what I've actually learned is to just be myself. Yeah, I think every story has its appointed time. And
Hmm.
sometimes those blocks come because there's something you have to flesh out. And if you just went ahead with it, it wouldn't, the story wouldn't come out correctly. So sometimes you have to take a step back and take a breather. So
Hmm.
that's one thing that I've learned, is to be patient with myself. Um, I've also learned to be more confident in who I am and what I do. And
Hmm.
that's a message also that I want to carry as an motivational speaker, is to develop that confidence in yourself. When you've been given a task to do, when you've been given a gift, and you've been given a vision, you were given that for a reason.
Hmm.
He didn't give it to somebody else. He gave you that specific thing for you to do.
Yeah.
So be very confident that you can do it. So that's the other thing. So I've learned patience and I've learned confidence. And I've also learned to just keep pressing ahead, whether the visible support is there or not. So often I hear a lot of authors, and they say, well, I'm not getting the support from my circle that I thought I was going to get.
Hmm.
People, my friends and family or whoever, is not promoting or not, the way. That's okay.
Hmm.
Your
That's good.
your time is going to come whether they promote it or not. Your time is going to come. Your whole, and I can't think of the word I need, but your star is going to shine whether they're there or not.
Hmm.
So just keep doing what you're doing. Keep
Yeah.
writing or singing or making your cakes or whatever it is that you're doing, that is your gift and your passion and that you were meant to do. Keep doing it, regardless of who is promoting it or who's not promoting it.
That's
Because the
true.
right people will see it at the right time,
Hmm.
and you'll be on top.
So I know you talked about that confidence piece. How did you? What are some like? maybe two practical things that you do to help you build up that confidence?
I surround myself with positive, motivational, any quotes,
Hmm.
and anything that's positive. I surround myself with. In my room, I have on my wall opposite my bed, I have my vision board that I created about maybe about 3 years ago, and I
Okay.
put it up high on my wall so that I could see it every day. And with the vision boards, you do the pictures and everything of things that you aspire to.
Yeah.
So there's that. I have plaques, I have calendars with, scriptures and motivational quotes. I have stuff everywhere. So everywhere that I look,
Yeah.
everywhere that my eyes land, I see something positive.
Hmm.
And I make sure that in those items, I include things that will motivate and build me as a person, as a woman, as an author.
That's good.
And that keeps the confidence flowing. And I
Hmm.
make sure that I surround myself and connect with people who are on that same wavelength.
Yeah.
So I think that to sum it all up, just surround yourself with positivity.
Hmm.
And
That's
that helps a
that's
lot
true.
with building confidence.
That is so true. That's so
And
true.
get in the mirror and tell it to yourself that
Hmm.
I'm worth it. I'm
Yeah.
talented. I'm gifted. I am all that I was created to be.
Hmm.
It's kind of weird at first looking in the mirror, talking to yourself like that, but it helps. It really
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I see that you are actually a motivational speaker that yourself. What are some of the topics that you enjoy discussing?
Oh, pretty much any and everything, but I enjoy discussing relationships.
Okay.
Uh, did a lot over the years. I was married for 13 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I've learned a lot about relationships. I've learned a lot of lessons about that. And so I enjoy talking about relationships, finance. I'll talk about that, self worth,
Hmm.
uh, pretty much any and everything. I only shy away from politics and religion only because they can be such hot button topics sometimes.
Hmm.
But if you ask me my opinion, or if you ask me what I think, or if you ask me to share some ideas on that, I will definitely share.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I kind of shy away from those two as much
Okay.
as possible. Because
Okay.
people get their feelings about politics and religion,
Uh-huh. That's so true. That's true.
you
That's
know.
true. Well, Tony, I definitely appreciate you for being on Authors to Know and their books to read to help us to have a better understanding of what your book Within These Walls is all about. Your character sounds so interesting. I'm always wanting to ask the question like, what issues are they dealing with? How do they resolve it? But I know that as an author, a book is just like a movie. No director is going to give away the end of their movie, just like an author wouldn't as well. So if you're interested in purchasing Within These Walls, make sure you go to that description box and click on that link that's next to the dollar sign, and you will be able to just read the book summary as well as purchase the book as well. I always tell people you do not have to wait until Christmas in order to purchase a book for yourself or purchase the book for somebody else. We did touch on different issues that Tony's character, Katie, is dealing with. If you know that somebody is struggling with some of the issues we discussed here on the show, it's nothing wrong with gifting somebody that book. And maybe they will be able to see themselves within Katie and then also um, get that help to resolve some of the things that they're struggling with as well. Another thing that I would like to ask you to do is make sure you also follow Toni on social media so that you will always stay in the loop about different projects she's working on, different books that she's going to be releasing, as well as if she ever does any book tours as well. We definitely thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Authors to Know and Their Books to Read. And on April 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, same place, Everything Authors, we will be having our show, Authors Helping Authors, and we will be discussing COVID could even stop me from writing my book If you're interested in our shows and being on the show, make sure you go all the way down at the description box and you will be able to see how you can be a part of the show. Or if you're interested in never missing an episode, make sure that you follow us, Everything Authors, on our social media handles as well. Toni, I thank you again for being on the show and letting us know more about your book. I hope that you guys have a great remainder of the night, and we will talk to you all later. Bye bye.